Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad y'all are able to join us tonight. Hopefully, I can keep most of the coughing off. We had a little bit of sickness going through the household. Everybody's doing a lot better now, and I want to thank everybody for bearing with us over the holidays, and I hope everyone had a great holiday and having a great New Year's. But tonight, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome. Thank you for being here. And while you're in chat, be mindful and be respectful of mods, families, and each other. We're going to be discussing a case out of Texas today. Looking at it, I've been extremely busy the last few days. I've seen a little bit of some briefing and of this horrific crime, and that happened over the holidays. Absolutely terrible thing to occur to any families during this time that we all enjoy being with family. But like I said, we're going to be covering some topics tonight, looking at it, and I'm going to be giving you the perspective of looking at it from my standpoint of how law enforcement officer, and when I saw the video for the first time, and there's a lot of great coverage out there by a lot of channels. Mob Crew's got some really good videos out there on it. The Joint Turkey Show, they have some great videos on it. I'm having trouble playing the video, but I have some slides that I made from the video, so we'll be going over them. But for whatever reason, down here where we're at right now, we're having a few computer issues, but just bear with us, and we'll get everything going. With that being said, we'll get started on this case. On San Antonio PD, there was a triple homicide. We have a female who was full term, 9 months pregnant with a child, with her boyfriend, that were found deceased in their vehicle. And law enforcement let out or has briefed the community and has asked for the assistance of people to help identify persons of interest. And this is the notice that they've put out, and it says on December 26, 2023, 2 victims were found deceased in a vehicle on the 5900 block of Danny K. Medical examiner's office identified the victims as 18-year-old Savannah Soto and a 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. And there's an attached video for this. If you go to and just type in either one of these victims' names, absolutely it will pop up. And the video, while it is very informative, of course, it's like all videos. You really can't see all the great details that you really need to see, but the mannerisms and some of the things that I look at it from the standpoints of my law enforcement career as an investigator, as a sniper, looking at how humans interact in high stress situations. And I can't imagine anything being more high stress than meeting up with another vehicle and at a certain time, and certain crimes have been committed, and you're able to go and interact and act as if there's nothing there. And when you watch this video, and as we go over these slides, that's what I'm going to be looking at and pointing out of, is this the way that if it had come notice to you and you had met up with a certain individual, and you'll see from the perspective I'm telling you that this encounter of these 2 vehicles and the persons meeting up is almost a after action briefing or meetup, whereas it's something that we do in law enforcement. I've been in thousands of vehicle um, assemblies of where we would meet up, pre-plan before we have some type of mission, and then we would meet up and after a mission and have a debriefing, survey, determine what we're going our follow-up actions would be, and I looked at this meetup of these two vehicles from that perspective. But and if law enforcement has asked that in the video are two persons of interest. One is driving a dark color pickup truck. The other one is driving the victim's silver Kia Optima, which is extremely important to understand that these individuals operating the vehicles are identified as persons of interest, meaning that it's not the victims. The victims at this time, law enforcement would have some type of understanding for some reasons that crime had already occurred at another location, and we probably have multiple locations, not only the residences where they live, but what would have drawn them to meet up with certain individuals. And of course, we have the profiles of the offender plus the victimologies of both of these victims that law enforcement would look at. What type of risk factor, what type of involvement are they involved in through their community that could put them in the harm's way? And of course, there's plenty of information out there of what the possibilities are. Regardless of what those possibilities are, these victims did not deserve what happened to them. And we have to remember that no matter what type of lifestyle they led, what choices they made, does not mean that anyone has the right to commit such a horrendous crime against a father, a mother, and an unborn child. And the unborn child will play an important role in this because the type of individual that will do this, their network of people that will protect them is greatly lessened for the fact that anytime you have a crime that there's no reason for, and there's no justification of what occurred to this female and to that unborn child. And so, and I believe law enforcement has far more information, and you'll see that when we go through this, that I absolutely believe that law enforcement, that when they release this last part of the video, it's all part of a strategy. They know exactly what's going on. They know a lot of information for the fact that looking at it, and you can see from the, as people have covered this story throughout social media, that we have a very prominent, easily identified vehicle being operated by someone that stands out outside the norms of average human. And so through those characteristics of not only that vehicle, but of the characteristics and identifiers of that driver of the vehicle, it will absolutely bring a lot of focus. And law enforcement, I'm sure, has identified a lot of things and is going to be moving forward rather quickly. Now, does that mean that they've have been able to make an arrest? There's a lot of factors that play into that. Is this going to be someone that's still within the community, or is it someone that's already jumped borders? And it's extremely possible. But anyone that has information on this dark color pickup truck and the two persons of interest is encouraged to call the SAPD homicide 210-207-7674 or 210-207-7440. And of course, you remain anonymous if you need to, but if you have information on this case, absolutely make sure that you have it and give it to law enforcement so that they can help bring justice to this situation. Mrs. Steve is in another room, and I'm in Florida, so you have to bear with us. And I hope I don't get too far behind on this. But anyway, I'm look through the all the people in chat, and like I said, always be respectful of each other, and we appreciate you being here. Good to see all these guys in here. And oh me, there's Josh and all of them. Good to see y'all. I may not be able to recognize everybody as we go into here and as the people jump in and start watching the show. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm just trying to keep up so I don't get too far behind on the questions. Oh, me. Yes, I'm glad to be back, and we are feeling better. Father-in-law had a little bit of a hospital experience, but he's recovering from pneumonia, and so we're all doing a lot better now that he's back and at home, and so we're getting caught up, and it's just been one of those holidays. All right. Okay, let's get in here and let's see what else we got. But anyway, what we have here, when you see, of course, when you watch the video, this is just a simple slide from it. You have the main truck, Silverado, I think it's been identified, four-door large truck, being driven by a very large individual, person of interest. And you'll see a vehicle pull up here, and then on the left side of the screen, you have a vehicle coming out of the darkness, also when they meet up. Instantly, when you see this, to me, this is a arrangement of communications of where we have two vehicles that's communicating, possibly even pre-crime, and had set up a mission or operation plan of, hey, I'm going to drop you off. You're going to meet with somebody. Whatever happens, happens. And then we'll meet up at another location. Or they have communications that's ongoing throughout the mission and the actions that take place. And we meet up at this one location that they're communicating constantly. That's what happens all the time here in law enforcement. When we go out and we're either about to go out and do something, make an arrest, meet up with someone, do some type of interactions with the community, we always have a plan of action. I see a lot of things in this situation here that I look at, and I see that we don't have people that are psychic and just two friends coming together, recognizing each other and pulling alongside and having a meet up. This is something to me that when I saw it, I said, this is something that is either an ongoing arrangement and or they're communicating constantly and saying, this is where I'm at, meet me here, this location, which gives you that they are a further bit of information that they're familiar with the location. When you look at this part of the country and this town and this area and the housing, this isn't an area that you're just going to luck upon two people. Unless you're from that community, you're not going to know certain areas and what's going on and where to meet up. And I would expect that law enforcement would have a lot of information of how these people came together through the victimologies, through the phone contacts, for the fact that through certain activities that one of the victims was associated with. And you're talking about that, like I said, regardless of what and how he made a living, he didn't deserve this. But that type of interactions, you still have a client base of certain individuals, and you don't trust yourself with strangers. And certain measures are taken whenever there's strange encounters. But when it's known other individuals that may be in the same type of community involvement and actions and criminal activities, that it may be someone that you've dealt with, and you may let your guard down. Don't know what the true motive of this case is yet, but there's a lot of possibilities out there. But having dealt with this type of individuals over the years, that they're not very trusting of strangers. And so to get and earn that trust, certain things have to occur, and I would expect that is the case. That whenever we find out who these individuals are, law enforcement will be able to link them and show what that relationship was, how long they had a relationship, and what was set up the situation. Whereas these individuals would have all been able to be inside the victim's vehicles during a certain time period. And how did that occur? Was there a meetup somewhere else? Was there another encounter somewhere else? where was the actual crime scene of where homicides could have taken place, and then the continuing communications of movement throughout this dynamic evening of events of the where the victims were left and finally discovered several days later. But anyway, what we have here is two vehicles approaching each other. And like I said, when you have two vehicles approaching each other in the middle of in a darkened parking lot, like I said, I've done it thousands of times, but we were always communicating with the other vehicle. I knew who the vehicle was, if it was an investigator, fellow law enforcement, family member, or otherwise. People just don't pull up alongside strangers. And so, and when you do pull up alongside other vehicles, that you're doing it for a purpose. And was this also something that had occurred pre-crime, meaning prior to the homicides? Absolutely possible. Someone that could have been dropped off from this vehicle earlier, met up with with the victims, and then they went somewhere or something happened at that location, and separation occurred, and now we got to this location. So there's a lot of things that we're not currently familiar with. As far as the timeline, law enforcement would be a little bit more familiar because, like I said, I think they have a pretty good grasp of this, and that's how come they left this vehicle or this video out as being part of their strategy of broadening the identification and confirming a lot of facts and communicating to the community for the fact that when you have this vehicle that's extremely a vehicle that stands out this much, especially with a driver of that size, there's a lot of people that can recognize them through service stations, gas ups, fast food activities, or just throughout the community, store clerks, for the fact that this individual stands out extremely easily to spot, especially associated with this type of vehicle. All right. But anyway, the vehicles meet up, and like I said, they turn off the lights, and which shows me that they have, this isn't something that is a one-off. This isn't something that just occurred first time. This is something that these people have probably done just about as much as law enforcement has done over the years. You see it a lot when we were on stakeouts. You knew when people knew each other. You know it when you meet up with someone. What do? You go through a certain set of actions. And if it's at night, you turn off those headlights, because with the headlights off, you can see other approaching vehicles in the lit area, although it's not in a very private area. But even if it's in some of the remote areas, like we would used to be out and away from normal traffic patterns and things, you get out there, you instantly turn off your lights, you communicate, and you talk about whatever you're going to do or whatever has happened. And that's what we see here in these. But we have a person of interest that exits the vehicle. When this person exits the vehicle and walks up to this, at this time, law enforcement says these are persons of interest. With these along the lines that more than likely we already have two victims inside the vehicle that are deceased, and this person doesn't panic. If you pulled up alongside some of your family members or acquaintance and they point to the side and says, hey, so-and-so and so-and-so are deceased, your actions are going to be a little bit different. You're not going to be calm and collected and do certain things. And that's what I watched here. I watched the individual that didn't panic, actually, as you watch this, and when you watch the videos, you go back to it, pay a lot of attention to how they handle themselves when they bend over, when they look in the vehicle, when they're surveying the situation. And the second person doesn't get out of the vehicle and run away. They stay with the vehicle, they converse with the other person, and the first person leans over, looks into the vehicle, and is surveying it in a extremely, to me, calm demeanor, and which tells me a lot. That if I was watching this situation, I would have no idea that there's two victims deceased in this vehicle at this time. It's almost as if he was talking to them. Now, is there that possibility that that has occurred? There is, but I just don't know. We don't see any muzzle flashes or anything during this time period, which would be indicative of the crime happening at this time. So I think it was probably prior to this occurring. For the fact that muzzle flashes in this darkened environment, you're going to see them. And I just don't see that happening with this. Let me get in chat and see if anything's going on. Yes, it was. Kamala says they were found in a vehicle. Yes, it was his vehicle. I understand. Oh, Brenda, gifted one True Crime Web membership. Thank you. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, I don't have my blue light. Guys, I appreciate it, though. Thank you for your support. It means a lot to us. All right. Let's see what else going over here. Matt says, yeah, and if it is even part of this, if this is part of the motive of what's going on, and I have worked a case whereas exactly this we had where a kidnapping occurred and a homicide occurred due to a robbery over drugs and money. And so I've worked one of these with an individual that did jump the Texas border, and so I've seen it. That is something that does occur, that during these robberies and after they go bad, they will jump the border. Don't know if that's the case with this. It could be very possible. Just don't know. Yes. I would expect, like I said, most of these people interactions that they always have, whereas they limit their exposures and they're very untrusting of strangers. And so, yes, I believe it will be someone that they will be able to identify from his orbit of other contacts. Hello, everybody. Glad to see you. Yes, I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you. Thank you, single mom, True Crime, gifted a membership. Thank you. Appreciate it. I wish I had my blue light. All right. All right. Let's see here. What is all going on? And trying to get caught up. Gail Hurd, $10 super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. And thank you for your support. Yeah, my cough is a lot better. It's the other night I couldn't even talk. Christina, 6 months. Mari, I see you forgot the big anniversary, but it's okay. I'll celebrate for the both of us. I was sick during that time period. I've spoken to Larry a couple of times, but thank you for all that you've done. Olivia, too. Happy New Year, Steve and Mrs. Steve. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Kel has been a member for 9 months. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Kamala Norris says, does truck guy have something up in his shirt? Opinion, dude in car stands up to help get it out. Whatever the exchange is, whatever the interactions are, what was going on, I don't know. Could he have been also wearing some type of additional vest or something? Possible. Don't know. All right. And Maria, you're correct. No reason to meet up like that lots unless you're hiding activities. And like I said, I've watched thousands of interactions, had thousands of interactions, worked night shift, and anytime you pull up and you talk, we always turned off lights and things. And and those interactions, for whatever reasons, um, they fall in line with that. All right, let's get back over here, and let me hide that. All right. We have where there's a tile that is exchanged from the truck over to the vehicle. There's a lot of speculation. Was it being wiped down, steering wheel, otherwise? Was there certain things being exchanged? Was there a weapon being exchanged and being handled and picked up with a towel? Who knows? There's a lot of different reasons of what could have occurred there. When you watch the video, like I said, you can watch and you'll see that. And it's, once again, if you're talking about individuals that two individuals that are participants in a horrible crime of 3 victims, and they're able to behave in this manner. Matter of fact, not jumping, not panicking. Everything's well controlled. Obviously, not screaming or hollering or anything, waving their arms. They're able to absolute main control throughout this situation, which tells me a lot about that. Was this something that they were both aware of that would happen? Very possible. Very possible. But after they part, one vehicle moves over and goes about 100, just over 100 yards away, 300 something feet away, and they park the vehicle, abandon it. And what happens at this point? They're going in opposite directions. Does the truck just pull around the block and wait and pick up and the other individual? I would imagine so, that certain things come, or is there another vehicle involved? Extremely possible. There's so many variables that we're unaware of, but I expect law enforcement has a lot of knowledge of what's going on with this and what is happening and how it will move forward. And so I have confidence in this. I think that there will be arrest. They already know who these people are. And that's just my own feeling and seeing this, that I know that there's communications going on, which is a great thing for us. But some of the things that these criminals, and that we saw even in the Kohlberger case, where they went out and were able to do the camera video canvassing and obtain all these images of a vehicle traveling in different areas. I expect that also occurred with this. But then also you have the geofencing of not only Google, but all these other providers out there. You would have Wi-Fi throughout this complex. You're going to have a lot of things that will identify a lot of different types of devices and attempts to connect up. And I expect law enforcement has all that, because with this geofence, once you get that warrant, it's going to, all these technologies companies out there, all these trackers of people that's in these areas, not only the victims, but even the vehicle communications. There's a lot of things that are going to be pointing towards this. So I don't see that law enforcement is going to have, while they may want to and may ask and use the social media as a tool, I believe that will be happening. I believe that is happening. And I think that they know a lot more about this, and it's all going to be moving towards rather quickly. But even the geofence, once they identify all of this, it's going to, I think, pay dividends. And now, will have borders been jumped? It's very possible. And when and how these people when would they be identified? I just don't know. All right, let's see here. Long Pony. What is your opinion on Perk got the Vicks from their apartment to the car? I don't see them going quietly, and all their belongings were left in the apartment. That could be, there could have been some type of pre-planned ruse set up. You're dealing with individuals that if they have certain, they do certain things within their communities, and there are certain activities that's unlawful, they deal with people, and they may have been tricked out, rused, due to whatever type of event could have happened. And then also, you can always have where they were overpowered or threatened with a gun. One of them's gotten out, phone calls are made, and negotiations. There's so many different ways. But law enforcement would look at those possibilities of how could you get control of one victim and use that victim as a controlling factor against the other victim. Extremely possible. We just don't know all the facts. But I'm sure that will be figured out and determined as we move forward. Blackwood gifted 5 True Crown Web memberships. Thank you. Wish I had my blue light. I appreciate all y'all's support. Thank you. And this will do nicely. Good to see you. Gifted 1 True Crown Web membership. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Yes, one thing no one has mentioned is the time of this meetup. Absolutely. Now, law enforcement knows it, and they would know a lot about what's going on, and especially when they acquire the geofencing. The information and the data that's on this one video, all the metadata that's there, they have that. They know far more about it. And like I said, they did it for a purpose, and I'm sure that the possibilities, and I won't mention what some of the of what they would have been doing, and what their possible strategy was at certain points, but law enforcement very rarely does anything but just by random acts. Everything has a strategy, and I believe that's part of the reasoning. All right. For Steve, how far of a range do they check neighborhood cameras to see how they came out? Once they establish a route, and once they identify in any of these vehicles, that one vehicle probably has a lot of different types of devices on it that may be tracked through certain OnStar or whatever electronics are within that vehicle that could track that. If they identify it through several different ways, that's one thing. Or if they have those phones that they, through the geofencing, they're identified, that once they establish that, they'll be able to track it. I mean, second by second. We saw that in the Murdoch case of where they were able to take his vehicle and track it across the country over to his family members and back. And so I expect that they're going to be able to see a lot of that when that vehicle cranks, whenever it turns off, that they're going to be able to, that once that's identified, they're going to know. Let's see here. What's going on that? I'm glad everybody's here. I hope y'all are doing well. If you got any questions, absolutely let me know. Yes, Mystic. Yeah, they have a timestamp. Like I said, law enforcement has it, and they probably have a lot more video than just this. You don't know how good it is not to be coughing, guys. Yes, my understanding, the video, the victim's video, and it is their vehicle in that video. But we're love to Mrs. Steve. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes. Yes. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure that even the ones that they marked, like I said, law enforcement will know all those devices, and they'll have that. And I expect they probably have a lot more information about vehicle tags. And even if they didn't, the combination of that vehicle style, make, model, they would identify it or get relatively close. And then when these people that are from that neighborhood, other people see these people daily. Those vehicles eat gas, and the people in the vehicle are known in that community, um, and I expect that they've been identified in more ways than one. My speculation, but I do expect that to be the case. Yes, there was the meetup in the. Let's see. Yes, it's where they met up. And like I said, it's just over 100 yards away from there, and drove to the dark area over there to the left. Vehicle was abandoned, and I expect either this truck picked them up or they could have been another vehicle. Yes, and I expect that to be the case because there's some movement in the vehicle. There was a towel that came out of nowhere from inside the interior of the vehicle, and like I said, I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of these meetups in both stakeouts and in my own interactions with other officers. Whenever we were planning some type of mission or after action debriefing, we did the same thing. We would meet up, see what's going on, talk about whatever happened, part ways, and there's a lot of those common denominators, characteristics I see in this meetup. And these people didn't panic, and that tells you a lot about their demeanor and their psychological intent. I can't see a lot of what opens, and but I did watch, and but no, I haven't. I'll go back and look at that. Thank you. Now, this here is after the crime, I believe, but that doesn't mean that this vehicle doesn't also meet up prior to. These we don't know what happened prior. We don't know what put whoever the person of interest in the vehicle who knows of the death, what part they played in the death, we don't know. Are they just a driver? Was there another person in the vehicle also? We don't know a lot of these things, but knowing and speculating that this isn't the first time that these two drivers have met up somewhere. And that's what we're saying, or that's what I'm saying, is that the interactions and the meetup of these two people appears that something that would or could or has occurred prior. And because everything went so smoothly, we pull up, we park, we open doors, we get out, and we exchange, and then we get back in our vehicles and we drive away. Everything has a certain ritual, almost finely tuned maneuvering. And so from that is what I'm speculating, that this may not be the first time that the persons in this truck met up that night. I would expect that everyone, the two persons of interest and whoever the third one in the truck is, absolutely, they have a relationship. This video, how many days after they were missing, how many days before they were found? I would expect that this is probably on the last day that they were seen. I do not think that we're talking about that, that whatever last time that they had communications, and mother had communications with her daughter and family members, law enforcement knows that. And I think that this would have been in the evening hours, pretty close after sunset of this. And so we have a lot of other, you can see where the lights are on at the neighbors and everything. So I think it's going to be the first day that they went missing. Yes, Janet, I agree with you that they passed the towel to the fat, heavy-set individual. Absolutely. Where's Kamala? Kamala, no blue light. I'm taking my ball and going home. No, don't do that. I'm sorry, I don't have my blue light with me. A lot's been going on, but I'm going to be heading back to Georgia probably tomorrow or next day, and so I'll get my blue light. Apologize for not having it. Charlotte, $4.99 super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate it. Josh DePosh has gifted 5 True Crime Web memberships. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Maria, $5 super sticker. Thank y'all for y'all support. Oh, man. Hello, Sleuth. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Thank you. I would expect, like I said, I'm speculating on this, but I think it would have been within hours. I would think it's the first sunset after the mother on the first day that whenever she last spoke to her. I think this would probably been relatively quick, or sometime in the night hours after they last spoke with family. That's just my opinion. Connie, I hate it, but I'm telling you, that coughing, it is absolutely amazing. Yeah, there's something that was passed back into the truck, transfers. I've watched hundreds, if not thousands of those. Everything from things being stolen from one vehicle to the other, to drugs, to stolen items. I've seen a lot of transactions in my life. Yeah, Kel, like I said, I would think that this video is probably within hours of the family talking to them on day one. But like I said, I'm just speculating on that. And then they weren't found for several days. Copper Horse, I gifted 20 True Crime Web memberships. Thank you, Copper Horse. Good to see you. Appreciate it. This is a good point. So is the guy just making sure a job was done? When we look at where he's bending over here, when you watch the video, and he bends over, looks in, or she, whatever this headset individual is, and surveying the situation. There's a lot of reasons, possibilities of what their thoughts were and what's going on there, but that is a possibility. Kamala Norris, $5. It's been said vehicles are harder for forensic. Do you think so? And are the DNA working with y'all from the beginning? All the vehicles, when you go into these vehicles to process them now, and when you see this individual get back in that truck, they climb in a manner of absolute control. There's no struggle. We step up and step in. I pay attention to that. I watch those motions of getting in and out of that vehicle. It's not something that was unfamiliar or was a struggle for them. Even for a large individual, we're able to relatively with ease enter that vehicle. And they'll watch and they'll see when they find that truck. Now, if they find the truck, I don't know in what condition it'll be. But if they do find that truck, of course, they'll process it. If there's not a easily linked to who the driver is, because this driver may be the actual owner, or it could be just a family member. But for the processing of the vehicle, same thing. They're going to process it. There's a lot of different forensics and a lot of different avenues for all different types of evidence being found. Heck, you're absolutely correct. These people are absolutely the best, and we do appreciate. Got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on this year as we move forward with the foundation and with the channel, and we just want to thank everybody. Yeah, that's ceiling fan. At least I'm not coughing as bad, and I apologize for the last show. It was just absolutely, I was miserable. My understanding is one's in the front and one's in the back. Yeah, the pesky fan. Top horse, been a member for 15 months. Happy Merry everything and New Year, Mr. and Mrs. Steve. Thank you. Appreciate that. Olivia, too, has been a member for 8 months. Thanks, Steve, for all you do. Thank you for what you do for us. Appreciate it. Canvas and crime. Steve, why do you think they have not seemed to have blocked off the victims' apartments as a place with potential evidence? Um, I don't know what they've did. I don't know all the processing that has occurred there, and what search warrants would be executed. Even law enforcement would have to go through a certain process to ensure that any persons possibly living at that residence, they'll still have to go through the search warrant process and obtain that information for any and all locations. And like I said, there could be multiple possibilities of crime scenes here. Does a geofence also work for iPhone? It works for anything and everything, all kinds of devices out there. And you're going to see a lot of this in the Kohlberger case. And I expect in this case here also. I haven't seen anything recently from law enforcement showing that they're in a panic. Whenever law enforcement's not in a panic, that typically is an indicator that things are going along as best as can for what they're trying to do. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, they're not always as cooperative, but the courts have ways of making them cooperative. Micro says, I'm a local and I've heard the most is that it was a fake deal. Yes, but it's still going to be within a circle and orbit of certain actions that would work for them. Another for Steve. If his dad removed drugs, weapons, and cash from their apartment for law enforcement show up, will he be charged? Um, I'm sure that law enforcement will be looking at a lot of possibilities. That's something that has occurred. Not in other cases. Do I know if it happened with this case? I don't know. But if families are aware of the situations, there is extreme possibilities of those actions occurring. Since the wackadoodle, true crime web, if the culprits are seen on multiple cameras and have a criminal record, have left DNA at the scene, would it make it easier for the LE not needing to rely on witnesses who are scared? Absolutely. And certain in communities and how the culture of certain groups of people, because all these in every town in every city, you have certain cultures, and from around the world. I mean, you have subsects of those, and each of them have certain ways of how they look at law enforcement and who do they trust and who do they mistrust and things of that nature. Will it play a part in it? Yes, it will play a part in it, especially in certain situations. And certain YouTubers and people that are out there, you got to be careful in some of these cultures for the fact that they're not scared of you. They're not scared of law enforcement. They're not scared of each other. And so you got to be extremely aware of the situation in certain areas. I had heard that he was a great chief and everything, so that's good to hear. And we have to be so careful of uh, I'm not the smallest human in the world myself. I'm heavy set myself, and so I wouldn't. We have to be extremely aware of what goes on, and it's so easy to destroy people's lives. That's how come we don't use names. I don't throw a lot of things out there, initials otherwise. I haven't heard of any arrests. That doesn't mean that they don't have those, but now from that also, law enforcement has a network of informants, um, and uh, and they'll use those informants, um, and especially if there's certain things going on within a certain community. And like I said, we have something here that no one likes, and not even individuals that's in that trade do they approve of the slaughter and killing of a unborn child. That is something that has crossed the line, and there will be people that will go an extra mile for that. Uh, you're not far off the truth there. They're saying we see you and know who you are. I would expect that is very possible. There's another term that we use, but yes. And this is true also. You're going to have this, yes, regardless of the person that speaks up or otherwise. You're going to have this. Someone's going to get arrested, and it happens all the time. Um, and uh, and it will happen regardless of all through this case. It won't just be the one tip that breaks the case, but do I think that law enforcement probably has went out and arrested every drug dealer and bringing the full wrath of law enforcement upon that community? Absolutely. For the fact they want to find someone to cut that deal. And so that will occur. And not just on the lower tiers. They will try to climb that ladder. They're going to get people that they're going to say, okay, uh, this is your chance. And so, yes, that will play a huge part in it. True crime wit. Do you think the truck guy was checking to make sure that hit was complete, or do you think he potentially took the goods? Probably a little bit of both. Like I said, we weren't in a panic. We didn't. Everything was well measured. You know, uh, and it was. He wasn't. They weren't shocked by what they saw, or that, at least that's my impression. Everybody looks at this video and sees a lot of different things. I looked at, and I looking at it from that standpoint. Maria says, 7 miles from the Georgia border. You're closer to the border right now than I am. Probably won't be the case by tomorrow evening. And Gail, you're correct. They may absolutely have jumped the border. That's what happened with mine that we had jumped the border. Um, didn't work out for him um, uh, because his victim here had family across the border that when they found him, he there's no way to extradite him. Because he is no longer among the living either. No, I have no idea, and I wouldn't even attempt to justify, and I don't know why they would. Law enforcement is aware of the situation. They would have had people stationed there at the vigil exactly for that purpose of possibly identifying. And there's certain things that we, as responsible creators, probably shouldn't do. And um, and bringing it up serves no purpose. Just my opinion. All right. Here. Let's see. I get caught up in chat. I appreciate everybody being here. Happy 2024, everybody. Yes. Let's see here. Do you think the big guy possibly has a cowboy hat on? The person popping out of the Kia has a black hat on. Um, I don't know. There is a possibility. Like I said, when you look at these videos, you really don't have a really great picture. But anything's possible right now. But like I said, I just look at the general overall movement of them and their actions. No arm swinging, no nothing that brought other people out into the scene. So there's reasons for that. I don't know if it's pushing or just saying go ahead and take the next actions, directing. There's a lot of different possibilities. Oh, Norris, thank you. Gifted 5 True Crime Web memberships. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of digital evidence. Absolutely. Like I said, we don't have a chance encounter. I didn't see that when these vehicles pulled up, turned off the lights, met up for this short time period, parted ways, and probably met back up. Well, thank everybody for your donations and your support tonight. Been off and been out of it for quite a while. Appreciate that. We're so far behind right now. Got a lot of stuff going on, and like I said, we appreciate that. Yes. Do we know that they were shot? From my understanding, that's what law enforcement released, that they were shot. Steve, do you think these groups will search out revenge before LE has a chance to lock them all up? There's always within certain activities and certain groups of individuals, gangs or otherwise, where that does occur. And is there a possibility of that? It may not be the exact individuals. It may just be people that have certain relationships. Okay. Let's see. Appreciate everybody being here. Kind of get caught up, guys. Um, Hope everybody's enjoying their time in chat. Yes, this is, I mean, how horrible of an animal and what type of monster would do this. It's absolutely amazing. The evilness of what people out there are capable of doing to another human being. Absolutely unbelievable. Another question for Steve. Why do you think the families tolerate the legal, shady lifestyle, especially knowing it puts them all at risk? There's a lot of cultures and there's a lot of families out there, and regardless, it doesn't matter that of what their actions were, that the actions that were taken by these monsters that took these lives, um, regardless of what you do out there, of how destructive your part is in your community, there's certain, there's no, you know, there's no way to justify either activity, but most certainly the death of an unborn child is unimaginable. Uh, all right. You know, do you think it was a female driving the car? There's, I can't say either way right now, but uh, there is that possibility. Yeah, there's a that's law enforcement would look at that avenue for the fact that they have to, because that would identify that if it is, and if it is, they'll look at the orbit and the establishment of those other offenders and the family members and the brothers in arms and uh, jailhouse family, and identify all the people's associated with the other groups if that is part of it, because they would identify someone of that physical size would stand out and would be identifiable. So if it is someone along those lines associated with that, they'll be able to identify them from. Um, and like I said, I'm pretty sure law enforcement has showed and arrested a lot of um, dealers in the area, and they said, "Who is this?" And I'm sure they probably pretty well already know. Uh, and got quite a few people in the chat tonight. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming in. Oh, man. could a jealous woman be that crazy about? And they look at that aspect of it also. Of is that a possibility? Yeah, they will be looking at a lot of different reasons. Oh man. All right, guys. Been here for a little bit over an hour, and I appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate the support. I'm gonna go have a little bit more medicine. Still got a little bit of drainage and stuff, but I hope y'all's New Year is going well. Hope y'all had a great time with your families. Think of this family and the loss of their loved ones. There's a lot of families out there that lost loved ones over the holidays, and we always have to think of them. And hopefully, like I said, I expect and speculate that law enforcement has this well in hand right now. But if you do have information about this case, absolutely make sure everyone that needs to have that information has it. And we appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there, and we'll see y'all soon, guys. Bye-bye.